Okay, so we're going to do our very first writing assignment. I do not want you to feel overwhelmed. I want you to remember that we're taking this step by step and that I am there during remote sessions and class to help you. So at the top here, it says, we have discussed the economies for the Southern, New England, and Middle colonies. Write a 2-paragraph essay comparing and contrasting the economies of these 3 regions. So I know it says essay, but it's only 2 paragraphs, and we can handle that. And be sure to include the following at some point in your writing. I recommend that you use this as a checklist. It's the types of crops grown, the purpose of the crops, the types of farming, the jobs available, and the types of workers. Okay, we're going to focus on how you're going to use those in your writing a little later. For now, I really want us to just be able to organize our thoughts, right? So, what you need to do is scroll down to the second page. Say part 1. Fill in a chart to organize what we know about the different colonial regions. So, this top chart you do not need to fill in. This top chart is here to help you. This one right here. Okay? What is in this chart at the top is examples that you can choose from. So, if I need to figure out what is similar and different about the 3 colonies, a good thing to figure out is just information about the colonies, right? So there's this chart down here. The southern colonies are going to go in this column. Middle colonies will go in this column. And the New England colonies go in this column. The rows across are those little checklist points you want to hit, right? What type of crops were in the southern, middle, and New England colonies? What do they do with those crops in those colonies? Right? For all of these, you can feel free to Google it, but if you Google it, do not copy and paste a whole paragraph, right? If you Google it and you find a different crop that was grown in the southern colonies, cool, but I need you to just write just that crop, right? This is here to help you. We don't want to make it more overwhelming. But other than that, you can use this up here, right? So for types of crops grown, I gave you the examples of cash crops, staple crops, tobacco, oats, and wheat. So if I'm looking at the southern colonies and I'm like, the southern colonies, what type of crops did they grow there? And I look back on my vocabulary and my study guides from section 1 when we learned about the southern colonies. I'll put in here. And I think about it and I'm like, oh my God, what crops did they use? And then I remember, oh yeah, they had those cash crops, right? They used to grow so much so that they could actually sell it for money, right? So when I decide on that, I would go right here where southern colonies and types of crops grown meet and type in cash crops. Definitely other crops, right? Up here, I said staple crops. We didn't learn about those with the southern colonies. Tobacco. Tobacco was an example of a cash crop. Remember, it was really hard to grow tobacco. So they would grow it in the small season that they could, and they would sell it because it was kind of expensive and hard to get, right? So like, oh my gosh, perfect. The southern colonies also had tobacco. Okay, you're going to do this for this entire chart. That is all we're going to do today. We're going to work on this again on Monday. For the chart, I need you to know that all these things up here, don't cross them out once you use them once, right? The point is that you're going to have some repetition, right? We're comparing and contrasting. So what that means is some of the things on here are going to be totally different from each other, yes, but Sometimes you're going to repeat things in different colonies, and that's how we'll find out what they had that was similar. Okay, the last thing that I wanted to tell you is that what I recommend doing after you're done filling this out. So let's say I did it. Go me, I filled in every single one of these boxes. Okay. What I recommend you do does not count towards your grade, but it will help you a lot later, is to highlight things that are the same for more than one region. Right, so I gave some colors you could use. You don't have to use my colors, but maybe I'm looking at all my boxes, right? And I said orange if it was in both the southern and middle colonies. Maybe I go back up in my boxes and I find out that, maybe the source of labor or the role of women, I have something that's the same in both of these boxes, that I would highlight that and make it orange, right? Same with, I think I said for Southern and New England, I could make it purple. For the middle and New England, I could make it pink or yellow if it's in all three. Do not think that you need to find a similarity between every single colonial region for each one. You don't have to do that. Okay. And lastly, for farming methods, all you have to pick is in between these three. You do not need to look it up or do any more. You just have to pick between these three. Okay. So I just want to summarize what I said for you. It was a lot of information, but the main points are for today, you're going to scroll down to part 1. Okay, you're going to use this chart to help you fill in this chart, where the southern colonies are one column, the middle colonies are the next, and the New England colonies are the last one. After you fill that chart in, it might be a very good idea to help yourself out by highlighting some things that might be similar. Okay, so use my table to fill in your chart. You can use the things in the table more than once. And then it might help if you want to highlight using some sort of color coding to remind yourself of things that might be similar between any of the colonies. That is our big goal for today. I do not want you to worry about moving on yet. We still have Monday.